Okay, you should have your Gemara open, and we're going to be looking at a piece of Gemara 4 lines at the bottom of the page. Just to put into context, so far we learned that you can make up Shacharit at Mincha, you can also make up Arvit in the morning, and the Gemara also demonstrated that you can even make up Mincha at night, even though it's a different day. We learned that the halacha is that you are able to make it up. So all three tefillot can be made up in the next following opportunity. The one that cannot be made up, which was not discussed in the Gemara, is making up Musaf, which was discussed and explained to us that you cannot make that up. Now the Gemara goes further and uses the following word to introduce the next unit, Meitvei. Meitvei means that there is a challenge. A challenge means that we're going to bring a Tanaic source that challenges what we said just before. The source begins by quoting a pasuk. When there is a circle here, that means that it's a pasuk. If we follow this pasuk, this line all the way to the side, we see that this is a pasuk from Kohelet. Previously we had another pasuk, which is over here, Vayere Vayivoker, and this pasuk here is the circle. And if we go all the way inside, we see this a pasuk from Bereshit Perek Aleph. But getting back on task, Meitvei, there is a challenge. The pasuk says in Kohelet, Meuvat lo yuchal litkon, something that is twisted that cannot be fixed. Vechesaron, and sometimes something is missing, lo yuchal leimanot. You cannot even begin to calculate the size of the loss. The loss is so enormous that you can't even begin to imagine how much you lose. That's what the pasuk in Kohelet says. Again, sometimes something is twisted, is bent out of shape, and you cannot fix it. It's so damaged. And sometimes the loss is so great that one cannot even put a price on the loss. The Gemara begins to explain this pasuk. Meuvat lo yuchal litkon. When the pasuk says that something that is twisted cannot be fixed, says the Braita ze shebitel kriyat shma shel arvit vekriyat shma shel shacharit. This refers to a person that failed to recite kriyat shma at night or kriyat shma in the morning. Once it's lost, it cannot be fixed. Or another example, tfilah shel arvit or tfilah shel shacharit. Or if a person lost the tfilah of the night or the tfilah of the morning. These are examples of something that is so damaged that cannot be fixed. The next part of the pasuk, V'chesaron lo yuchal leimanot. Sometimes the loss is so great that you cannot even begin to calculate the amount of the loss. This refers to, says the Braita, Shenimnu chaveirav ledvar mitzvah. This refers to a case where your friends invite you to do a mitzvah, velo nimna imahem, and you refuse to include yourself. For example, if somebody says to you, come, let's go visit somebody who's sick, or come help us build a sukkah, or come help us make a minyan, and you decide, you know what, I'd rather do something else. So the loss is so great that you had the opportunity, your friends are going to do a mitzvah, and you fail to join them, you can't even begin to imagine how great that loss is. So this is the end of the Braita. The Braita took a pasuk from Kohelet and explained to us that sometimes something is so damaged that cannot be fixed, and sometimes the loss is so great that you cannot begin to calculate how great the loss is. So the problem that this Braita presents, because we know that this Braita was introduced as a Meitvei means that we're challenging something that we said just before in the Gemara. We said before in the Gemara that if you miss a tefillah, you can make it up. And this Braita says clearly that an example of something that it cannot be fixed is missing a tefillah. So what do you mean that a tefillah is you're able to make it up? The Braita says you cannot make it up. So this is a kasha. There is a problem here. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yitzchak said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, and he's coming to answer this problem, to resolve this problem. Acha b'mayaskinan. What is this Braita talking about? Shebitel b'mezid. The Braita is talking about a person who did it on purpose, not somebody who did it by accident. So there's a big difference. When the Gemara was talking about making up a tefillah, so if you recall, this was introduced with ta'a velo itpalel. A person made a mistake and didn't daven. That you're able to make up. But the Braita that we just mentioned before is talking about Ze shebitel tfilat shebitel kriya shma shel arvit. If a person bitel means that he did it intentionally, or tfilah shel shacharit or tfilah shel arvit, bitel means that he did it actively, he did it purposely. That you cannot make up. So that's the difference. When the Gemara said before you can make it up, that's talking about it by mistake. What the Braita is talking about that you cannot fix it if a person did it on purpose. And continues the Gemara, Amar Ravashi says, Dai kanami. We can bring proof from the diuk, from the way that the language is written. Dektani, because it teaches us in the Braita, bitel, because it says he was mevatelet, meaning that he nullified it, he did it. Velok tani ta'a, but it doesn't say that he made a mistake. Shma mina. So the Gemara says from here we see it. We see that there is in fact a difference between the two cases. So to summarize, we had learned before this Braita that if you miss Shacharit or Mincha or Mariv, you can make it up at the next possible opportunity. The Braita comes along and presents a problem. It brings a pasuk from Kohelet that tells us that sometimes you cannot fix something that is so damaged. As an example of that, says the Braita, is if a person bitel, if a person cancelled out a tefillah or kriya shma, you cannot make it up. So this doesn't fit with what the Gemara said before. So came Rabbi Yitzchak, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yitzchak said in Rabbi Yochanan that the solution to this problem is very simple. They are talking about different circumstances. The Braita that says you cannot make it up is talking about a person who did it on purpose, whereas the Gemara that we learned earlier that says you can make it up clearly is talking about a case of ta'ah, a person made a mistake. And finally, the Gemara went ahead and quoted Ravashi, bringing support, bringing proof for this explanation. The proof is because the Gemara was talking about a case of ta'ah, he made a mistake. The Braita was talking about a case of bitel. Bitel means he nullified it, he canceled, he didn't do it. Later on, we're going to discuss what exactly is considered a case of mistake. So what exactly are the circumstances of making a mistake? So when can you make it up, when you cannot? But for sure, if a person did it on purpose, he cannot make up a tefillah. That's not a possibility.